Welcome to DIY World Improvement. I'm your host, Catherine Carlozzi. It's always nice when a previous guest networks me to another do-it-yourself world improver. Yes, it does make my life a bit easier, but more important than that, it's an indication of how much synergy there is among social entrepreneurs. It tends to happen most often with my younger guests because they're so internetworked. It was a recent guest, Emily Ann Regal, founder of We Stop Hate, who put me in touch with today's guest, Adam Lowy. Adam's family business is relocation. Lowy's moving service, based in Neptune, New Jersey, was founded by his grandfather in 1924. Adam grew up in Ocean Township, but left the Jersey Shore to attend Arizona State University, graduating with a degree in marketing. Although his first job was outside the relocation industry, Adam is still a mover and a shaker, of the status quo, that is. You see, he's the founder of Move for Hunger. The nonprofit is a stunningly simple way to help address America's larger-than-you-think food insecurity problem. And it probably could only have been thought up by someone who grew up in the moving industry. Adam has been recognized as an everyday hero. And in 2011, he was a finalist in the VH1 Do Something Awards and a runner-up in the First Chase American Giving Awards. On October 28th, he was honored by NJ Biz with a 40 Under 40 award. When I finally caught up with Adam to do our interview, he told me that he will have spent only 6 days at home down at the shore during the month of October. He is indeed a moving man. Some people would say you had the ideal job after you graduated from Arizona State. Tell us a little bit about that early part of your career.
I was very interested in marketing and events when I graduated college. My degree at ASU actually was in marketing. I was very involved on campus as well in setting up events. So when I left, I got a great job with a really boutique, high-end event marketing company, and our client was Mercedes-Benz. They had a few other clients, but I was in charge of the Mercedes-Benz golf program. I knew nothing about cars or golf, but they still decided that was a good idea. My first purchase was a Golf for Dummies book. But it's kind of my first experience kind of into charity because Mercedes was setting up all these charity golf tournaments across the United States with their dealerships, and that was something that I was helping run logistics for. So we were setting up all these charity golf tournaments, and then the very first tournament that they sent me to was the Masters, and then they sent me out to Hawaii for the Mercedes-Benz Championship, and it was a really cool first job out of college. But after a while, it just became, it wasn't fulfilling. You know, it was great. I was doing something that I enjoyed doing. I learned a lot at that first job. I don't think that I could be doing what I'm doing without just, you know, when you're dealing with a brand as luxury and high-end as Mercedes-Benz, every single thing has to be perfect. Every little detail needs to be perfect. So it really gave me a good background in putting together really detailed events and showing value in everything that we did. And I took that into kind of the formation of Move for Hunger.
It was 2009 when you decided at the advanced age of 23 that you wanted to start Move for Hunger and turn in your interesting job to serve as executive director of a nonprofit. What was the catalyst for that?
I knew nothing about nonprofits or hunger really when this idea came. My family has actually owned a moving company here in New Jersey for 90 years. My great-grandfather started it, which makes me fourth generation. So when I was younger, I worked moving trucks, you know, odd jobs, whatever. That's what you do when Dad owns a moving company, you move boxes. And, you know, in that time, and not just from me working there, but from generations, you just notice so much stuff going to waste when people are relocating, whether it be food or furniture or clothing, you name it, it gets thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
And what really started to bother me was just like the food. Like people were leaving perfectly good, unopened, non-perishable food. They were either leaving it there, they were throwing it away, or they weren't able to move it, and no one was really thinking about it. So I was still at the other company, and this was just an idea that, you know, kind of came up with all from my dad, my two uncles that kind of run the company. And we're thinking, well, why don't we just ask people if they want to donate their food, and we'll bring it to the food bank. It seemed like a really easy thing to do. It seemed like something nice. And so we did. We asked the question for 30 days. And in a month, we collected 300 pounds of food from a question. There's no organization. There was no website. There was no fancy marketing material. It was a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do something good, basically? Do you want to donate your food during your move? We'll pick it up. We're in the home anyway. We'll bring it to the food bank. It's not going to cost you anything. It's a great thing that you can do. And in a month, we collected 300 pounds. And it was kind of that moment that we realized that people do want to do good. They just don't always know how or when. And if you can make it easy, odds are they're probably going to do something to help someone.
Mm-hmm.
So I got real excited. It was 300 pounds of food. We brought it to the local food bank here in New Jersey. It's Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean counties, which is the one by me. And I probably hadn't been there since I was on a class trip in maybe second grade. What would I ever be doing at a food bank?
Mm-hmm.
And I went there, and at the time in 2009, they told me that there were 100,000 people in Monmouth and Ocean counties that didn't have enough to eat, 40% of which, 40,000 children here, that don't have enough to eat. And it was one of those numbers that just kind of stuck out in my head, you know, and shocked me because I grew up here. I was born and raised here. It's the home of Bruce Springsteen and John Bon Jovi,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the Jersey Shore, and it's an amazing place, and you don't see a lot of poverty or homelessness or food insecurity, but here it was, right all around me in my hometown that I've lived and my family's lived for generations, and no one had even made it known to me that hunger was a problem. So I started doing research, and you know, I started to realize that hunger wasn't just this third world problem. It was all over the United States. 1 in 6 Americans, 50 million Americans, including 17 million children, go to bed hungry in this country. It's something that we don't often talk about, and it's something that we can talk about. So I figured if our small moving company could collect 300 pounds of food in a month from just doing business as usual, then what could thousands of movers do every day if we kind of mobilize them for a good cause? And, that's how Move for Hunger was born.
Once you'd made the decision to found it, how did you get started?
So my friends all thought I was crazy because I was quitting a good job to jump into nonprofit.
I bet they did.
So that was the first obstacle, but fortunately I have a very, very supportive family. You know, we kind of figured that, you know, if this doesn't work for whatever reason, I'll go find another job. And I'm someone that's very determined, and I don't like to fail at things, and I knew that the only way that this could fail is if I let it. So that's kind of one of the things that pushed me really early on. And, you know, the other thing was, we know it works. I mean, I know the moving industry. My family knows the moving industry. We're showing companies that doing good is good for business and just making it part of the process. It was really easy for companies to be able to participate. So when we first started, we had already had relationships with a lot of moving associations or van lines and put together a very small board of directors who were really instrumental in helping us further our connections and make new ones. And, we piloted it with Wheaton Worldwide Moving with 8 movers. So immediately we became, a national organization in 8 different cities. Whether you call that national or not, I certainly did. It kind of grew from there. But it was and continues to be a lot of hard work, and it's one of those things that we're able to make these amazing connections with the industry, and the industry's embraced it because the fact of the matter is it's something that all moving companies can do very easily. They can incorporate it into their business. They can be better community leaders. And at the end of the day, we're able to feed a lot more people because of it.
Now, I know that your mover network is your core. How big is it, and in how many states are you located?
So we've grown quite a bit. In just 4 years, we're now working with over 500 moving companies across 47 states. And this year we launched in Canada as well because there are hungry people in Canada and there are moving companies there to help. So it's grown quite a bit on the moving side.
As you mentioned, you've existed for 4 years now, and you're supporting 5 full-time staff, if I recall, which is pretty amazing for such a young organization. Talk about your goals and your growth and how you've managed to achieve them.
Staff is great. It's good to have a team.
Yeah.
A really great team that really helps us do what we do every single day. Started out with just, a volunteer to the point where we were getting ready to hire someone, and he was able to come on full-time and since grown to a few more individuals. And then volunteers and interns. I mean, our volunteers and interns make up a huge component of what we do. I mean, we can't do what we do without people volunteering their time and services, as well as the participation of our moving partners. So, there's different fundraising competitions that we were able to participate in, whether it be Chase Community Giving, where we won quite a bit of money early on, or the VH1 Do Something Awards were highlighted on national television, and just recently actually written up by Forbes. So because I think what we're doing is so simple in terms of the idea of what Move for Hunger represents. I think a lot of foundations and media have been really generous to kind of highlight what we're doing, and that has certainly propelled our growth from the very beginning.
And I know that it's a family affair, just as your moving company is, so is Move for Hunger. I think your father and your uncle and your brother are involved?
Yeah, my father and my uncle are on our board of directors, and my brother is one of my 5 team members. You know, everyone is certainly involved, even down to my grandmother, who likes every single Facebook post we make.
If I remember right, your brother is in charge of one of your newer elements of your partnership, the real estate program. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we launched a real estate program earlier this year with the idea that awareness is a very important component of what we do. You can't solve a problem unless you know it exists, and there are a lot more realtors out there than there are moving companies. Mm-hmm. So if we can get people to begin to understand what their local hunger issue is in the community and know that there is this option to donate food even before they book the move, they're going to be twice as likely to hear about it from the realtor, they hear about it from the moving company, and now they're going to donate their food on moving day. So that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to change the mindset of not just the moving relocation industry, but individuals. If you're moving, you should be donating your food. An individual or a family less fortunate, and we've actually grown to now work with over 2,000 realtors, and we've been working really hard to grow that program and figure out new ways where you can get them involved in fundraising and food drives, and just have them become a really big part of how we're able to educate the United States on hunger issues.
When we first started to talk, you did mention that the skills that you learned on your first job and that were part of your background from Arizona State, you've been able to use. And I'm always interested in that since I'm also a communications professional. Talk a little bit more about how you've been able to take your background and put it to work to not only build your organization, but to fight hunger.
I think when a lot of people think about nonprofit organizations, they think of it as a charity asking for a handout, and that's not my background. My background is marketing, and my background is business. And you need to run, and you'll see that the most successful nonprofit organizations out there are run like businesses. We're very conscious about our brand. We're very conscious about the dollars that we bring in. We put together key corporate relationships and partnerships to create win-wins, not only on the moving side, but with all of our strategic partners. And we're driving revenue to the organization. So, when we do go out and we ask individuals for dollars, we're able to stretch those dollars really, really far. So, my background's in events. We plan a lot of food drives.
Mm-hmm.
We've 5 full-time staff. We organized 170 food drives last year, all across the United States. This year's goal is 250 by the end of it. So, when you look at something like that, it takes a lot of time and a lot of detail and a lot of work from a marketing standpoint and from an event standpoint and from a management standpoint. And we're trying to make sure that we have the team in place, whether it be the staff or the interns or the volunteers, and letting them know from the very beginning what is expected and what needs to be done. And, this is our mission, but this is a company, and we need to make sure that we're continuing to grow. And so far, over 4 years, we've pretty much doubled everything each year, whether it be pounds of food or meals delivered or dollars brought in or volunteers and interns that we're working with or number of food drives. I mean, even our movers, we started this year with 350 movers. We have 500 now, and my goal is to get at least another 100, 150 before the end of this year. So, we're trying to get close to that doubling number again on just our moving network. So,
Mm-hmm.
We're treating it like a for-profit entity, which of course, where all of our profit, you can't see my quotation marks, my air quotes, but our profits are going directly back into our mission.
Mm-hmm.
So in just 4 years, we've actually delivered enough food to feed over 2 million individuals in need.
Wow.
And that's something that we're really excited about.
When we spoke the other day, you mentioned that part of what you have on the horizon might be a high school or college student involvement, some sort of program.
I learned very early on the power of young people, whether it was being, involved when I was at university or whether it was my experience working with DoSomething.org, where we actually won the Do Something, or a finalist in the Do Something Awards in 2011. And getting people involved young is something really powerful because it's something that will stay with you for the rest of your life. A commitment to community service, a commitment to helping others. The high school and college students, I feel, represent a huge opportunity from working with Move for Hunger, where We want to work with them to educate people about local hunger issues. We want to work with them to mobilize them to hold food drives in the community, not just at the schools, but literally going out in the community and holding food drives. We want to mobilize them to fundraise for our organization so we can continue to grow. We can continue to find new ways to innovate and educate. So it's something that we're really actively looking into, and I feel that hopefully it'll be something that everyone hears about in early 2014.
Great. What is your vision for Move for Hunger? Where do you want to be on your 10th anniversary, which is 6 years from now?
I think in 10 years, this will be something that is beyond just the United States. You know, anywhere where there is a moving network and a food banking network to feed people, I feel that this is something that can be easily put in place to help feed those less fortunate. And in addition, one of the roles that we hope to play is bringing together hunger relief organizations. There's a lot of amazing hunger relief organizations out there in the United States, as well as food banks, but a lot of them aren't entirely working together and collaborating as well as they should. And I feel like we kind of get to play that impartial role since we're supporting all of them through our food donations and through our transportation support. But if we could get everyone to just start making commitments and collaborating, I mean, we all have the same end goal here. We don't want people to be hungry. So we need to find out what processes are being done best by some organizations and which processes aren't being done maybe that great by others, and cut some of those and put funding towards the things that work, and just find better ways to solve problems instead of just thinking that, you know, this is a job. I mean, the job should be to work our way out of a job because no one's hungry. That's the goal. I mean, if I could be doing something else and not fighting hunger, that would be great. But there's hungry people here, so let's find a way to feed them. But let's also look deeper into kind of some of the root causes of hunger and some of the safety nets that are already in place by our government or not in place by our government. I think collaboration hopefully will be key to really reducing hunger in the United States.
You play an active role in the larger world of social entrepreneurship through the World Economic Forum's Global Shapers community. That's one of the networks of young social entrepreneurs. In fact, I know you're curator of the New York City hub. What advice do you have for potential young do-it-yourself world improvers?
Don't be afraid to start young and early. I feel like I started at 23, and I got a late start compared to some of the people that I've met. You know, there's so much need out there, and that doesn't just mean need in charity, but it means need in innovation, need in technology, need in just creating more efficient processes in the way that our economy functions and our government functions. And now is the time to get involved. Not waiting for someone to tell you it's okay now, not waiting until you get the right accreditations because of a college degree or master's program, not being afraid to just kind of go for it and surrounding yourself with the best network you can. And the Global Shapers community for me has been probably one of the most inspiring networks that I could ever find. I mean, everyone, even just in the New York City hub, you talk to and you realize, oh my God, these people are doing such incredible work, or these people are so committed to making an impact. And that is exciting to me. You know, I feel that if you can surround yourself with people that inspire you, hopefully one day you can inspire others, and that's what we're trying to do.
Adam, how can people learn more about Move for Hunger and get involved?
To get involved or learn more, people can visit our website, www.moveforhunger.org. You can organize a food drive there. You can set up a fundraiser. You can make a donation online. There's tons of different ways to get involved. And we'd love to work with you. You know, we're in 47 states now and continuing to grow. And, you know, hunger is not something that just happens during the holidays. It's a year-round problem, so we need people getting involved with us year-round.
Thank you for joining us today, Adam. I look forward to seeing where you take this.
Thank you so much. I hope to give you an update in the future, and it was a pleasure speaking to you today.
I wanted to get an idea of what it's like to work with Adam's organization from the mover side, so I spoke to one of Move for Hunger's relocation company partners. Cindy Meyer is president of Ridgewood Moving Services in Mahwah, New Jersey. Cindy, how long has Ridgewood Moving been a Move for Hunger partner, and how did you find out about Move for Hunger?
I believe we've probably been a partner since the inception. I'm on the board of the Movers Association of the state, and one of the board members brought it up at a meeting. We jumped right all over it.
What made you want to get involved?
My company is very community-minded to begin with. Throughout the moving process, people are stressed out. They tend to want to throw things away. So I'm all about being a resource. I have a donation resource on my website, anywhere from donating eyeglasses, furniture, clothing, and then the Move for Hunger program is for people that want to donate food. And so people, when they're packing their kitchen, tend to throw out food and want to just get things quickly done. And so we're asking, just instead of throwing it in the garbage, throw it in a box that we provide for them. On moving day, the movers will take that box and bring it back to our facility, and then we'll donate it to our local food pantry.
I seem to remember you telling me that that's just right down the street from you, so it's nice and simple.
It's right around the corner, and which is nice is a lot of our clients will just stop by and bring food to our office. We're happy with that. So we have a box that sits out in our office to collect non-perishable food items, and then when one of my guys get back from a job, he just runs it up the street. So we're a pretty nice partner to Center for Food Action here in Mahwah.
Do you have any idea how many pounds of food you've delivered to the food bank?
We tend to drop it off and not be so much about what the weight is that we're delivering. You know, if I was to guess, I would say probably 7,000 pounds by now.
If I were another moving company executive and I called you to find out how hard it is to be involved and what impact it's had on your business, what would you tell me?
That it is very easy to get involved, and it is so worth the little bit of paperwork that it does entail, because you will get paid back twofold. This is a pay-it-forward program that just speaks volumes to our clients and the community. Everybody is engaged in my office, my movers are engaged, and the clients that we serve are engaged. So I would encourage any of my colleagues out there that aren't involved to get involved. It's a great added value to your business. It is a great tag-along to your sales pitch when you're trying to secure a job, and it's really a no-brainer. It's a relatively simple solution for such a large-scale problem, which is hunger in our country.
From your point of view, is there anything the organization could be doing better?
I think they're doing such a fantastic job. They're so all over social media, which we are also, and that's a big part of getting the message out there. They hold events. They will come to a moving company and actually assist you in projects or community service events that you want to have on your own. I know they've gotten involved with a couple of my colleagues when ShopRite does the Can promotion. They've actually come up and showed companies how to manage this event, send a truck to ShopRite, talk to customers as they're walking out of the store. So they're right there with you on that. They will be at my convention that's coming up in a couple of days, the New Jersey Movers Association. They also attend van lines, and they're involved with our national association, which is AMSA. So to me, they're doing all the right things.
I want to thank Adam and Cindy for being our guests, and thanks to you, our listeners. You'll find the video versions of our shows at youtube.com DIY World Improvement. Welcome to DIY World Improvement. I'm your host, Catherine Carlozzi. It's always nice when a previous guest networks me to another do-it-yourself world improver. Yes, it does make my life a bit easier, but more important than that, it's an indication of how much synergy there is among social entrepreneurs. It tends to happen most often with my younger guests because they're so internetworked. It was recent guest Emily Ann Regal, founder of We Stop Hate, who put me in touch with today's guest, Adam Lowy. Adam's family business is relocation. Lowy's moving service, based in Neptune, New Jersey, was founded by his grandfather in 1924.
Adam grew up in Ocean Township, but left the Jersey Shore to attend Arizona State University from Arizona State. Tell us a little bit about that early part of your career.
I was very interested in the marketing and events when I graduated college. My degree at ASU actually was in marketing. I was very involved on campus as well in setting up events. So when I left, I got a great job with a really boutique, high-end event marketing company, and our client was Mercedes-Benz. They had a few other clients, but I was in charge of the Mercedes-Benz golf program. I knew nothing about cars or golf, but they still decided that was a good idea. My first purchase was a Golf for Dummies book. But it was kind of my first experience kind of into charity because Mercedes was setting up all these charity golf tournaments across the United States with their dealerships. And that was something that I was helping run logistics for. So we're setting up all these charity golf tournaments.
Graduating with a degree in marketing. Although his first job was outside the relocation industry, Adam is still a mover and a shaker. Of the status quo, that is. You see, he's the founder of Move for Hunger. The nonprofit is a stunningly simple way to help address America's larger-than-you-think food insecurity problem. And it probably could only have been thought up by someone who grew up in the moving industry. Adam has been recognized as an everyday hero. And in 2011, he was a finalist in the VH1 Do Something Awards and a runner-up in the first Chase American Giving Awards. On October 28th, he was honored by NJ Biz with a 40 Under 40 award. When I finally caught up with Adam to do our interview, he told me that he will have spent only 6 days at home down at the shore during the month of October. He is indeed a moving man. Some people would say you had the ideal job after you graduated from executive director of a nonprofit. What was the catalyst for that?
I knew nothing about nonprofits or hunger, really, when this idea came. My family has actually owned a moving company here in New Jersey for 90 years. My great-grandfather started it, which makes me fourth generation. So when I was younger, I worked moving trucks, odd jobs, whatever. That's what you do when Dad owns a moving company. You move boxes. And, in that time, and not just from me working there, but from generations, you just notice so much stuff going to waste when people are relocating, whether it be food or furniture or clothing. You name it, it gets thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
And what really started to bother me was just like the food. Like people were leaving perfectly good, unopened, non-perishable food. They were either leaving it there, they were throwing it away, or they weren't able to move it, and no one was really thinking about it. So I was still at the other company, and this was just an idea that, kind of came up with. So then the very first tournament that they sent me to was the Masters, and then they sent me out to Hawaii for the Mercedes-Benz Championship. And it was a really cool first job out of college. But after a while, it just became, it wasn't fulfilling. It was great. I was doing something that I enjoyed doing. I learned a lot at that first job. I don't think that I could be doing what I'm doing without just, when you're dealing with a brand as luxury and high-end as Mercedes-Benz, every single thing has to be perfect. Every little detail needs to be perfect. So it really gave me a good background in putting together really detailed events and showing value in everything that we did. And I took that into kind of the formation of Move for Hunger.
It was 2009 when you decided at the advanced age of 23 that you wanted to start Move for Hunger and turn in your interesting job to serve as